evening, everybody, and welcome to Soul Healing Circle membership level 1. Tonight, I want to go a little off track, and by that I mean I try to stick to self-awareness without judgment, divine assignment, everything that is my regular platform and can be expected of me. But today I want to go a little bit off the rails, and I think that this is a good group to go off the rails with. I want to talk about the new earth energies, and specifically about what's going to be happening over the next 9 months or so, 9.5 months. June of 2024 is going to be a very significant shift in energy, a very obvious shift in dynamic. It's going to be challenging for people who, without any judgment, we are going to label unconsciously incompetent. They don't know that they are spirit beings. So they don't know that they're spirit beings. And their human experience is going to be very hard because they haven't paved the way for the new energies that are coming in. For those of us who in any way, any significant way have come to realize that we're spirit energies and that the natural laws in some way, whether we understand them or not, are truly governing and guiding us, we're going to be in a position that while it isn't going to be as physically or spiritually painful for us, it can be really challenging to witness for those we love. But it's also going to be extremely important that we recognize our role and our responsibility. Our role is as the witness. And our responsibility is raising our own frequency and vibration. Because if enough of us have that higher frequency and vibration, we're going to be able to hold space for, not do anyone else's work, but hold space for the collective. Over the last several years, and by several, let me say, since 2015, the Earth dynamic energy, as measured by scientific tools like the Schulman resonancy, by many scientific tools, is changing. The numbers, the colors, the space in between the electronical readings are all changing. And I'm not going to get into the woo-hoo of that, and I'm not going to get into the science of it. I'm going to ask you to meet me in the middle and understand that my personal passion is frequency and vibration. And if there's anything to know about frequency and vibration, I'm going to make sure I know it. What's happening in a simple explanation is that in the past, Earth energy had a certain volume or a radio channel that everyone tuned into. I think the radio channel would be a great analogy. When you're in range of that channel, it's super clear. The farther away you are from the channel, the more staticky, disconnected, and completely cut off you are from that particular station. In the past, most humans vibrated at a 3-dimensional energy at a very specific frequency. Again, we're not getting into the science of it. Since 2015, that radio station has been slowly changing. Some people have been able to tune into it, most not. Some have recognized that they're not on the right station anymore, and they've searched for the right station, and they're on it. Others are finding that station now more than ever. A larger percentage of people are tuned into the right frequency. This frequency is a 5th dimension. In the good old days of the 60s and the 70s, when this spiritual vibration and talk was very popular, they talked about the fifth dimension being the age of Aquarius, where everyone would be free and it would be a different world. And we thought of it as not being here, but somewhere else. And as time has come and the dimensions have changed, the frequency and vibration of Mother Earth have changed, we've come to realize that the third dimension is still going to exist, but it's going to be chaotic. It's going to be challenging and overwhelming. It's going to be very physical and material. And the fifth dimension is also going to exist. It's more peaceful. It's easier. It's more about spiritual self-awareness. It's less material. And that's creating a polarity. And don't get me into, the news cycles or the outer experiences like COVID or political elections or agendas. Forget about all of that stuff. That's not the division that I'm talking about. While that exists, it's not the division I'm talking about. The division is people who know their spirit energy here for a human experience and that there is something specific to learn, to be, to do, or to have, versus people who don't know that. And they're really struggling. They're struggling with their mental health. They're struggling with their physical health. They're struggling with fitting in. They're struggling with not wanting to be here. Now, I don't want you to confuse that by saying, well, and there are many days I'm like, this is my last fucking go around on this earth. I don't want to be here anymore. But that's a very different feeling and expression than wanting to hurt yourself, for example, because you can't be here anymore. I can be here. I just think it's stupid to have to be here some of the time. And so there's a very different energy. And I don't want you to think of it as one is good and one is bad. That's not what I want to create here. I don't want to create any more division. But what I want to prepare you for is that in the coming months, that is going to be more and more obvious. It's going to be more physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually painful to be out of alignment. In the past, the frequency and vibration of earth energy supported the human experience. But that frequency and vibration is shifting higher and higher towards a cosmic intelligence that doesn't have the same tolerance for human stupidity, for not learning the lessons, for not knowing the natural laws that earth energy has had in the past. If Mother Earth was a person, she'd be pretty sick and tired of our bullshit by now. Imagine a child of yours completely misbehaving and disrespecting you constantly. There's a breaking point. And that's what we're moving into, is this new earth energy. There's many versions of it. You can go deep into Eckhart Tolle's new earth and, maybe have to, for feminine energy, it's probably Eckhart Tolle who you might want to connect with. It's a very slow, nurturing, passive energy. For masculine energy, you might want to check out Dolores Cannon. She's, when she was popular, well, I shouldn't say popular, she was never popular. When she was putting herself out there, she was the labeled child wackadoodle. She was whack-a-doodle. And now, all of a sudden, all of what she's been saying is coming to fruition. So why am I telling you about this? Since the early 70s, up until about 2015, it was a very slow process into know thyself. For eons, hundreds and hundreds, maybe even thousands and thousands of years, the teachings of all mystical societies, all metaphysical, and all religious studies have been based in know thyself. And unfortunately, what happened in 2015 is that that didn't work. The majority of the population on this planet in 2015 was not people who knew they were spirit energy. And that started to tip since 2015. It's been tipping into less people don't know their spirit beings, and more people do know their spirit beings. And it's shifting from know thyself, which for thousands and thousands and thousands of years, for example, Ayurveda is a 25,000-year-old body wisdom system. We've had this knowledge for 25,000 years. And it really hasn't been public since before 2015. And now it's pretty much everywhere. Thousands and thousands of years we have had the intellectual capacity to know ourselves. That's tipped out of know thyself into heal thyself. And in June of 2024, the resonancy of earth energy and the resonancy of cosmic intelligence are going to be the closest that they've ever been. So in the past, the gap of earth energy and the gap of cosmic intelligence were pretty far away from one another, giving everybody space to figure it out. Now, all of a sudden, that space is really close. Imagine having a 10 by 10 room that's all yours, to be told you're going to get a 1 by 1 square foot space. Not having prepared for that is going to be very uncomfortable. It's going to be very overwhelming, and it's going to be very chaotic. And my greatest fear when in 2003, when I decided I didn't want to be in that material world in that way, I wanted to be in the spiritual world, and I decided that my plan was to become a doctor of metaphysical psychology. One of the key pieces in that for me was that I wanted to prepare people for this. And here we are at that point that I wasn't sure was ever going to come, and we're here now with a world full of people who are not prepared for what that's going to feel like, because their traumas, their ego, their physical surroundings aren't going to support the healing that they need. We've been raised, especially as women, that it's selfish not to take care of everyone else first. Well, those of us still stuck in taking care of everyone else first and not knowing how to take care of us, it's going to be hard. It's going to be really hard. This tip coming in June, where earth energy and cosmic intelligence energy, so physical and spiritual, are so close, is going to be a time where, well, a space and time where everything moves very quickly. For those of you who are feminine energy, it's really important to recognize that you came to this space and time with a really incredible superpower: slowing things down. You slow things down with your breath. You slow things down with your imagination. You slow things down with your voice, with the pace in which you move. That's going to be really important. In Eckhart Tolle's New Earth, he talks about everyone having to be present in the moment. For feminine energy, that's very true. It's only right now. For masculine energy, we have the ability to remember from the past and to divine from the future to be able to navigate right now. So it's really important that as masculine energy, we are remembering the past and we are consciously creating the future, so that the feminine energy can nurture that new frequency and vibration. From a physical perspective, we're already experiencing the changes of the earth. No matter what theory you hold that it's created chaos or it's nature's chaos, it doesn't matter. It's chaos nonetheless. As we move through these 10 months, it's really important that you're healing. So I want you to imagine what that means for us, or those of you who have done soul healing protocol. What it means is we need to shift out of navigating life and determining where we're at from our fear stories. I'm not saying avoid, ignore, and escape them, but I'm saying they are the just in case energy. We need to focus on staying in those energies of love, our thoughts, our feelings, and our experiences being made from our power energy and being expressed as those love stories. It's time to heal the physical ailments. We've got to stop listening to diagnoses and labels. I'm going to go back to my story. I'm sorry I got a little off track. In 2003, when I decided to get out of that material world and move fully into the spiritual world, it was because I was diagnosed with clinical depression and I was going to have to be on drugs for the rest of my life. And in that spiral, I had some crazy things happen that we're not going to go into. Infidelity in marriage, infertility, multiple miscarriages. All of those really ugly physical things literally forced me into this spiritual realm. And a big part of me becoming a doctor of metaphysical psychology was because I wanted there to be a better way of handling depression, anxiety, acute stress, and chronic pain. And one of the big things for me at the time, mostly because I'm stubborn, is that I didn't want to be on a pharmacology for the rest of my life. I wanted to actually know what was wrong. And at the time, in 2003, those answers weren't readily available. The internet was for elite or geek level people who understood how to do programming. You didn't find this stuff at every turn. When I found yoga and meditation, I lived in Markham, which doesn't matter, but it was an hour and 15 minutes to go to downtown Toronto where yoga studios were. Like this wasn't public domain energy. And so what I recognized in that moment is that I was going through a trauma. I had had multiple miscarriages. My husband accidentally got someone else pregnant, and the perfect life I had created for myself was over. And I hadn't established myself in anything but my career. I didn't have a big circle of friends. I didn't have a great relationship with my parents. I still don't really want to be part of the family I was born into. I didn't have any of those infrastructures, and I didn't like myself. And so being diagnosed with depression was really easily accepted. It was like, oh, thank God, at least I know what's wrong with me. That's not what was wrong with me. I was filled full of trauma and rage, and it was everybody else's fault. And I didn't love myself. But nobody was diagnosing that. And so I was labeled with mental illness. It actually, in a very grateful way, is how my career ended. I was the vice president of an alcoholic beverage company, and our bonus material, which was a significant amount of money, was based on having an annual physical every year. It was part of keep them healthy and alive. Well, I had been going to the doctor because something was wrong with me. I had gone back to my oncologist. I'd had cancer in the past. He's like, nothing's wrong with you. I'd gone to my GP. Nothing's wrong with you. I'd gone to my blood specialist. Nothing's wrong with you. 20 minutes in a psychologist appointment and I have clinical depression. I'm prescribed with meds for the rest of my life. And I might not have said it, but I was like, fuck that. That's not what's wrong with me. And I left. I didn't take the prescription. And on the top of my medical file, diagnosed with clinical depression, refused medication. And so when my human resources department came and said, Tracy, bonus time is in 3 weeks. We need your physical. I was traveling all over the world, and I was like, oh, it's okay. I'll sign a document saying that my doctor can release my latest medical notes because I just saw him like, I don't know, 3 weeks ago, and there's nothing wrong with me. He'll sign off on that. Well, guess what, Trey? The top page of your doctor's notes, diagnosed with clinical depression, refused medication. They terminated me at a corporate meeting at Disneyland in front of my peers, saying they couldn't have a woman at the helm of their organization who was mentally unstable. That's how I got out of the corporate world. So here I am, no career. My husband's about to have a baby with someone else, and I'm depressed. Well, guess what I went and did? I went and got that script filled real quick. And although that story sounds like, oh my God, that story sucks, best thing that could have ever happened to me. Because it started what I call in my mind the revolution. And the reason I'm telling you this story is because my greatest fear, what I came to be a warrior of, is about to happen over the next 10 months. There are going to be more people in North America diagnosed with mental illness, labeled depression, anxiety, acute stress, and chronic pain. And it's actually spiritual disconnection. They don't know who they are. They don't know their spirit energy. And they don't believe they're capable of healing themselves. And so they're going to get vaccines. They're going to go on prescription drugs. They're going to seek out like-minded communities that sit and complain about how hard life is and how much it sucks. They're not going to recognize that they need to do the opposite of what they're doing. They don't understand their fear stories feed their trauma. They don't understand that their love stories raise their frequency and vibration. And so the reason I wanted to do this soapbox tonight is that every single individual matters. As you raise your frequency and vibration, you attune with other spiritual energies. And as we grab each other's spiritual hands and we create this circle of healing angels, we're holding the space for those that don't know that they don't know that they don't know. Why is this important? Because some of those people are the people we love very much. They are our friends, our children, our parents, our grandparents, our aunts and uncles, our cousins. We can't do their work for them, but our frequency and vibration will raise the collective frequency and vibration. That doesn't mean that you have to be happy all the time. It doesn't mean you have to be perfect. It means you're doing your work honestly. You know that you are a spirit energy having a human experience. You know that you have a divine assignment. You know that there is the potential that you can heal yourself with your own mind. I have witnessed over the last 4 weeks way too much evidence of how fast this new frequency is coming. And I want us to be prepared for that. I want you to figure out what your daily routine is. Honestly, 90 seconds of being in the intention of your power energy, finding the ways that you thrive in that. For me, it's clean body. I'm going to be better at what I put in my body. Does that mean I'm perfect? No. My man-child got married on the weekend, and you wouldn't believe the stuff I ate. And then the next day, I had a hot dog. That's something that my body has been telling me for years you can't do. But oh my God, did it ever taste good? It doesn't mean we're going to be perfect, but it means most of the time. Most of the time. And we're not going to shame ourselves or punish ourselves when we're not in alignment. We're going to recognize, this is out of alignment. This is what conscious competence looks like. And it's what this planet needs right now. If you're in physical pain, if you're in emotional incompetence, if you're in mental incapacity, if you're in spiritual disconnection, that's okay. But it is up to you to do something about it. Because that space in between Earth's tolerance of us being human beings and cosmic intelligence intolerance of us following the natural laws is getting really, really tight. Really tight. So what do you do? If you've already done soul healing protocol, you know what your power energy is. That's all that matters, is that you are mostly reflecting, contemplating, and experiencing from that perspective. It doesn't mean you have to be that. It means you're reflecting, contemplating, and experiencing from that energy. It's why you're here. It also means that you have ways that you are daily connecting to that. If you don't have your power energy, I want you to be very consciously aware of recognizing your fear stories and not engaging with them, not challenging them, not ignoring them. Simply recognizing that is the absolute wrong path. It's unfortunate that we choose our fear stories to guide us often because they're comfortable and they're familiar. And our ego trusts them. It's time for soul to be driving that bus. I'm not expecting anyone to be insane in the ways that I am insane. So I will explain to you my insanity. I wake up at 7 o'clock in the morning and I drink water. I do a ground open connect protect meditation where I cleanse and purify each chakra. I connect with what I call cosmic intelligence and I offer my services. For me, it's I, Tracy, give my core values wholeheartedly to this moment. I give my life, my time, my energy, and my breath to being of enormous benefit. I pledge myself to the natural laws of this universe to be used in the ways in which the natural laws need to be used. I focus in sitting in, and for me, awesome. My power energy is abundance. Deepak Chopra actually did a 12-minute abundance meditation. So I literally listen to his abundance meditation every day. And then I sit in silence, just listening to what my body has to tell me, astral planing and projecting into the past and the future, bringing that awareness back. I have a box of people who need extra support, attention, or energy. I sit with that box. That takes me from 7 until 9 every morning. I get up, I feed my dogs. I do whatever my daily routine is. So whether it's yoga, HIIT training, some treadmill, I have a very specific clean breakfast. I have a coffee in which I sit with an oracle deck to pull the card for the day. My coffee is a mushroom-based adaptogen, and then I work. I have a nap every day at 4 until 5 to cleanse and purify myself from the one-on-one patients I've worked with all day, and then I teach all night, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday. Wednesday, I don't do anything that doesn't make my soul sing. That is 100% my perfect for me day. I have to have that. And I've built my whole life around this routine because that's who I need to be in order for my light to shine, to be able to support you guys. At the moment in play, I have 97 people in play. It means they're in a membership, they're in a course, they're in a program, they're in one-on-one treatment. 97 people I'm supporting right now. That routine, that nap, that food that I consume, that's supporting all of that. Why am I telling you this? Because I want you to imagine and to pay attention to the squeeze that we're about to feel, about the transition to this fifth dimensional energy. You get to choose. Imagine third dimension is a lower, darker frequency vibration. And by dark, I don't mean evil. I mean heavy, hard. Fifth dimension energy is going to be lighter, brighter, easier. And it's a choice. And I'm asking you to be prepared to make that choice.